Shelley Wade, host of the Goodness Factor podcast. As an antidote to the drumbeat of negative news we're inundated with on a daily basis, the Goodness Factor shines the spotlight on good news and good people doing good things. Each episode starts off with the Goodness Report, then we interview a do-gooder, and we end each episode by sharing a good word with you. Hi, it's Shelley. Welcome to another episode of the Goodness Factor. I realize that my cone is pretty high today, so maybe I should do the entire episode like this so you can see the whole cone. So we always like to kick off the show with the Goodness Report, reporting good news the world over. Then it's the do-gooder interview. Today's do-gooder, Shaggy. A few weeks ago when he stopped by my show here in New York City on 94.7 The Block, I took that opportunity to ask him some questions about goodness for the Goodness Factor. You're going to love his answers. And at the end, he was like, I've never experienced an interview like this. I guess artists are so used to you asking them about gossip and the music and whatever. I just wanted to know about kindness. And again, you're going to love his answers. And I always like to wrap up the episode with a good word, giving you some motivation and inspiration and positivity to send you on your way until the next episode. So let's get everything kicked off with the Goodness Report. Many of us grew up watching Malcolm-Jamal Warner on TV. Because of that, we feel like we actually grew up with him. And so it felt like a true personal loss when he passed away far too soon last year. Well, his wife, Tanisha Warner, is sharing how we can all honor our memories of Malcolm-Jamal Warner through Malcolm's Ember. In a post, and I'm quoting her, she says, "Some people leave marks that don't fade. This is a place to honor what he left in you. My husband, Malcolm-Jamal Warner, touched people in a way that went far beyond fame. In his work, his words, his presence, and what he stood for. I have watched people share what he meant to them, often through tears, with a tenderness that went beyond admiration. I am opening a space to gather those offerings, a memory, a poem, a song, a drawing, a photograph of something you made by hand, a reflection, whatever form feels right. This is not a campaign. It is simply an invitation. Everything received will be held with care for a future legacy project connected to the Warner Family Foundation. There is no deadline, no word count, no format required. Just send what you carry whenever you are ready. This space will be here. Whenever you are ready, our hearts are open to receive." And here's the email address she shared: Malcolm's Ember at the WarnerFamilyFoundation.org. I'll repeat it: Malcolm's Ember at the WarnerFamilyFoundation.org. Now, I told this story on air when Malcolm first passed away last year, and it's about the time I met Malcolm in person. I was a teenager, and it was in my hometown, Houston, and we went to Astroworld so that Malcolm could give me an autograph of the book that he had just released. And so I told the story of that on air, and I think that's the thing I'll share with Malcolm's Family Foundation. I'll either write it down and send it via email, or I will do what I'm doing right now, record it and send the video file. Yeah, per his family's request, that is how I'm going to honor Malcolm's memory. In other news, NBC Los Angeles recently shined the spotlight on a faithful and dedicated volunteer at the West LA station of the Los Angeles Police Department. 90-year-old Marlene Willis is so dedicated that she's been recognized as LAPD's Volunteer of the Year and was even gifted a police department badge. By the way, Mrs. Willis has loving kids and grandkids, but she never reveals to anyone that one of her kids is actually famous. Yeah, and you'd never know it until you see the screensaver on her computer, which is a photo of her famous son, Bruce Willis. And finally, 1010 Wins and reporter Sophia Hall report that Chad Caruso already has a Guinness World Record for skating across the United States in the fastest amount of time, which was 57 days. Now, the Long Island skater is challenging himself to beat his own world record by doing it in nearly half the time. He tells 1010 Wins, and of course I'm quoting him, came up with the idea to skate across America and document the whole way. I did the whole trip completely alone, just me and a backpack. A lot of nothingness going through the desert. His 2023 journey was posted to the world through daily vlogs and helped him raise $15,000 for Natural High, which is a nonprofit that helps kids find other passions in their fight against substance abuse. This time, Caruso wants to continue bringing awareness to substance abuse and addiction and mental health, and is skating for the same organization. Caruso's challenge begins on May 1st from Venice Beach, California, with him aiming to reach Jacksonville, Florida by the evening of May 30th. And of course, we wish him well. And that's the Goodness Report. Time for the Do-Gooder interview with Shaggy. Check it out. So we've reached the do-gooder part of the Goodness Factor, where I like to ask the kindness questions. And so, Shaggy, Mr. Lover.
Oh.
Shaggy, please share with our viewers and listeners the kindest thing anyone has ever done for you.
You know, the kindest thing I think anyone has done for me is when they come up to me and say they prayed for me today. Yeah, a prayer is always, it's not very often you hear that, but, you know, I've had occasions where people says, you know, I went in and I prayed for you today, you know, and my wife does that a lot. She's really been heavy back into church as of lately. She had an accident.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Is she better?
Oh, she's much better now.
Okay,
but she fell
good.
off a horse and almost
was
almost paralyzed.
Oh, my God.
And she started to really go back heavy into church, into her faith. And every time she comes in and tells me, I prayed for you today, I went in, it's really something that really moved me. And it's probably one of the most valuable things for me. And I'm also back in the church, or I've been going to church with her, whenever I have time. So it has also increased my faith.
Why do you feel like that hits different for you than a regular hello or compliment?
Yeah, because I've lived. I've done so much things. I've gone through so many things in life, and you know, some people will say things just to be polite, you know, but that's not one of the things that people, if you look at the average person saying, it's rarely you hear somebody come in and says, well, you know, I prayed for you today.
Yeah.
And I just think that's something that is and if you're a person of faith, it means a lot to you.
And I'd like to ask the kindest thing you've ever done for someone else. I know a lot of times people don't want to toot their own horns, but what's the kindest thing you think you've ever done for someone?
I think I do it every day.
And what's that?
To be honest with you, it's compliment. A compliment is really good because it helps you. So you cannot accomplish anything with low self-esteem. And the minute you're around people and you make them feel like they're unstoppable, you know. And I always say, if you have someone around you and they're not clapping when you're winning, get rid of them.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
I love that.
My thing is to always empower people around me. So the kindest thing I could do for you is to actually get in your ear and say, hey, you are fantastic.
I love that.
You are good at what you do.
I love that. Because a lot of times someone can be having like a really horrible day, or something traumatic has happened to them and you just don't know.
Yeah, it'd be amazing that one thing you say make that person's day.
Yeah.
And I try to be a great human being in that way and just really say, hey, you know, sometimes I send text messages like that. You know what I mean? Saying like, I'm wishing you an amazing day. You bring sunlighting to people's lives and all of that, and then sometimes it's just great for them to hear it, and they'll hit me back and it's like, wow, I wasn't expecting this today.
Yeah.
You know, and it really just changed their energy.
Yeah, it can make all the difference.
It does.
For someone.
It does. Simple things like that. People think like, oh well, you know, I'm going to buy you a Birkin, that will make your day, and that probably does too.
I'm not going to turn a Birkin down.
I'm not going to say, so I'm going to call you and I'm going to send you this message just saying that you are fantastic. You can accomplish everything because you're that great. or the Birkin? Which one you gonna pick?
I would pick the compliment. Actually,
Wow,
I mean,
you're a
because
different person.
no,
I
I
love
mean,
that.
listen, I'm first of all, I'm not huge on purses.
You're a big
I'll
one, yeah.
have one purse and I'll carry that purse,
Yeah.
forever. And then when I switch purses, I always forget something, so I carry one purse around.
The thing for me is that everything you get after a while becomes old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You could have like a Balenciaga shirt you pay like $5,000 for. You feel good in it. You wear it 10 times and you're like, I'm tired of it. Somebody
keep
brings
wearing
you
this.
a $10 t-shirt. You gonna put it in there and still feel great just
Yes,
the same way.
yes,
You know what I
yes.
mean? So I just think that those material things, they fade after a while. So when you come with something that is really meaningful, there's touch. I say James Brown came to me one day and he said, Shaggy, he says, they could take away your house, your car, your money. As long as you have your talent, you're a rich man. He says, I've been watching you every night and you're the truth. And that I live with that to this day.
You got that compliment from James
Absolutely.
Brown?
James Brown, we toured together and he kicked my dressing room door open. And I used to see him on the side of my stage every night watching me. Couldn't understand why. And he he kicked my door in, came in with a security guard that stood behind. I thought I was going to get the James Brown beat down. And he sat with me and gave me gems and just like, you are the truth. I've seen a lot of great artists. And he named him Michael, people that he's done. And he was like, you are the truth. You let them see you shine. Do everything.
Oh my God, I
You have
love
it.
that.
And he just really, but I walked out of there like believing him. And it's the same thing when I met Sting, or even when I met Michael. Michael was very complimentary that way too. And Sting is like that for me right now. He just thinks I could do everything. So it's good when those people come in and say these words. They go further than material things that you get.
Yeah. I love it. That's wonderful, wonderful words. Shaggy inside the goodness, the goodness factory. Appreciate you taking the time to share
Appreciate it.
that goodness with us.
Yes, this is very unusual. I don't get these kind of interviews. So it's good.
Perfect.
All the best.
Oh man, I so enjoyed that conversation with Shaggy, just talking about kindness. I've interviewed Shaggy a number of times over my career over the years, but that probably was my favorite conversation that I've had with him, talking about kindness. And as he said, he's lived, and so he has some really thoughtful ideas of kindness and the way to be kind to someone else. And so, yeah, I really enjoyed that part of the conversation. Let's get into the good word. I came across a meme posted by iconic supermodel Iman, who said, "May you find the courage to disappoint people who expect you to stay small." Oh my God, I love that. Yes. People who you surround yourself with, they're not supposed to expect you to stay small, and they're not supposed to be cheering for your downfall. It's like something Shaggy just said a few minutes ago. If someone's who's around you and they're not clapping for you, then they shouldn't be in your life. Get rid. I'm paraphrasing what he said, but if someone is in your life and they're not supporting you, or they're not cheering you on and hoping for your success, then they probably should not be in your life. Yeah, so may you find the courage to disappoint people who expect you to stay small. Thanks for sharing that, Iman. And of course, you can find her on Instagram and her socials at _real_Iman. And thanks also to Shaggy for that thoughtful conversation about kindness. Thank you for listening to The Goodness Factor. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and spread the word to your entire network about our podcast, shining the spotlight on good people like Shaggy and reporting good news, because don't we all need good news during these trying times? And be sure to subscribe to the video version of the podcast as well. Just go to YouTube and search for The Goodness Factor with Shelley Wade. And I'd love for you to be on the podcast. If you'd like to share the kindest thing someone's ever done for you, or that you've done for someone else, like you just heard Shaggy do, record yourself in your phone, record in your voice notes, and send me the file via DM on our social media. You can send it to @The Goodness Factor on Instagram, or at The Goodness Factor with Shelley Wade on Facebook. And be sure to follow us on socials as well. Or if you want to be on the video version of the podcast, you can record yourself on your phone in landscape and send me that file as well. Same places at The Goodness Factor on Instagram and at The Goodness Factor with Shelley Wade on Facebook. And please do share the podcast with someone who you think needs some good news in their life. And I will talk to you next episode. Love you for listening. Mwah.